Join us, Adam Pellerin, alongside Andy Brickley, coming off a great weekend at TD Garden as the Bruins celebrated their Centennial game against the Montreal Canadiens. And, well, Sunday ended up just like it started, with a win over Montreal. A 2-1 win back in 1924 and a 6-3 win in 2024. Brick, what a weekend we had, my friend.
Yeah, it was special. It was great to be in the Garden and see the entire ceremony prior to puck drop against the Canadiens and the return of so many legends and the celebration of the different eras and the Stanley Cups and great to hear from some people we hadn't heard from in quite a while, particularly Harry Sinden. I liked his comments about what it meant to be a Boston Bruin.
Yeah, there was a pre-taped message from Harry Sinden, which everybody got to hear, which was special. The oldest living member of the Bruins organization, Harry Sinden, and obviously some historic figures walking through the doors of TD Garden. We're going to hear from some of them coming up in the Hockey Hub podcast. But first things first, Brick, I apologize. I should have had this ready to go. This is my Centennial Scally that I'm going to be wearing because we're talking all things Centennial here.
I like it. You wear it well.
Did you like yours?
I did.
You like yours?
I did. I loved what we did up in the booth. You know, we had the old vintage microphones and we had the scally caps. And, you know, we tried to pay tribute to the start of this great organization back in 1924. We did our little part. And I thought it was great of the Bruins to include us with the scally caps.
Yeah, it was cool. And I am surprised to hear Judd say that he had never worn a scally. Now, you know, typically men who are follically challenged tend to gravitate towards scally caps, but hearing Judd say that he had never worn one before was quite surprising, and I would venture to say that we might see a scally or two on Judd moving forward.
Yeah, and I was surprised by that as well. You know, when we travel, there are times when I'll bring my scally cap with me. Maybe I'll make when we go out to Western Canada is usually when it comes, you know, when you get the scarf and the overcoat and the scally cap. I don't like wearing a toque, but I think Judd's more of a toque guy. That's what he likes to wear, keep that head warm when it's cold out. But I know Monty, when he was coaching the Boston Bruins, he was, you know, always had a scally cap. So it's not foreign when you start traveling. Guys wear a lot of different things, and scallies are fairly popular with the hockey world.
Yeah, and typically you see coaches wear them for the outdoor games, right? Like the Winter Classic or the Stadium Series. But because the Bruins were honoring the Centennial and really obviously starting back to last year, the Centennial season, we had seen the players sort of wearing clothes that were typical with the times, whatever era we were honoring. And saw Jim Montgomery at the time wearing a scally and saw him wearing it at the Winter Classic as well a couple of years back. But getting back to Sunday and everything that went into the production of the presentation, right? And I want to start with the drone video because you were a part of that, and it was really cool. Like so I'll reference the Red Sox did something similar for opening day. I think it was 2 years ago, and it was really well done, and it was reminiscent of that. I don't know if you saw that or not, but just sticking with this drone video, it was really well done because it started. With an aerial shot, as if you're watching us on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch, you can see it right now. It started with the aerial shot over Causeway, and it starts with not only the Bobby Orr statue, Brick, but Bobby Orr standing there, and you're like, wow, that is going to be tough to top. But as we entered the Garden, you can see blades going through security, and you can see us making our way, through all of these areas of the Garden. And then you see Willie O'Ree there. And, the list of names as we saw, there's Chief right there, Johnny Bucyk, one of the captains in Bruins history, honored pregame. And just taking it all in, Brick, this was magnificent.
It was, and you got a real good look there at Heritage Hall, and what a nice setup that is. I know that we spent a little time in there on Jack Edwards' night, post-game celebration, so you didn't really experience Heritage Hall, but you can see from this drone video how high quality that part of the garden is, and yeah, this was really cool. And when we were doing our part, radio and television, cam.
There's Taz in the box.
Yeah. Where he spent a lot of time, and it was interesting how they did it. A little bit above my pay grade, but to see that drone, and it came from the Zamboni entrance. And it took off went across the ice and went all the way up to the 9th floor, and then it made a big across the ice from where we are positioned, and then it circled around. It came by Neely in the Bruins management box, and then it stopped at Judd and I. Judd had a line to read, obviously, kicking off the broadcast, as it were, and then went down and catch Ryan and Beersy doing their kickoff for their radio broadcast. So it was pretty neat how it was done. I know it was put together at different times. It wasn't just one continuous drone coming in off Causeway Street. That's my understanding, not to give any secrets away, but the finished product was pretty spectacular. There wasn't much of a commitment from us. We only had to give up about a half an hour of our time to come into the garden on an off day to make sure that we could be part of this concept. And it was special. You could feel the day before the game, because of the unveiling of the bear statue and the presence and the people around, and then the drone setup, that it was going to be a pretty special day over the next, 48 hours. So, it was great. Todd Angeli was there. Nice to chat with him on an off day. But, Marshy came out and skated a couple of sloppers. And, it was great being a part of it, and a small part of it at that, Adam. So, enjoyed being a part of it, but the finished product was really cool. I didn't see the Red Sox one. I wish I had seen it. I consider myself a big baseball fan, but I did not see the Red Sox drone, so I'd like to compare the two because I thought this was pretty spectacular.
It was. The Red Sox one was well done. I know we're focusing on this Bruins Centennial game and the production and all that, but the Red Sox one was well done, and it was following Jerry Remy's passing. Jerry had passed away in October of the prior season, and the Red Sox had produced this drone video going into the 2022 season. And it started, I believe the opening shot was going through the press box and flowers for Jerry and honoring him as the drone took flight. So that was really well done, and it was an Emmy-winning video, actually, for the Red Sox. And I would suspect if this is going to be submitted for an Emmy, they are going to be strongly considered, and they would definitely get my vote. But I thought it was really cool. And Brick, and honestly, I'm not trying to, toot your horn here, but to see you there up in the box with Judd and being a part of that, it made me think. And again, you're my partner on the Bruins broadcast here at Nesson, and a guy that I grew up watching as part of the Bruins. And I was thinking about you, man. I was like, man, Andy Brickley, grew up in Melrose, played at UNH, played in the NHL, played for the Bruins, has been a broadcaster for the Bruins forever, and is a big part of the Centennial. And I heard Judd say during the game, 87 players from New England have played with the Bruins, and you are one of 87. So we keep shrinking down these numbers, right? And how rare, it is your situation, right? It's just all right, to play, at college at a high level in New England, right? All right, smaller number of people have done that. To play in the NHL, a much smaller number of people have done that. To play for the Bruins, much smaller number of people. To play for the Bruins and being from Massachusetts, and then playing for the Bruins and being in the booth. I mean, that's incredible, man. Kudos, tip of the scally to you.
Well, just imagine how lucky I am, right, Adam? Well, we'll say all of yesterday reminded me just how lucky I am personally, because I got to see my heroes, the guys that I watched, 8 and 10 when they won the Cups in 70 and 72, and here comes Orr, and here comes Espo, and here comes Chief, and here comes Cash, and it took me to that age, where I dreamed about being where they were. I dreamed about playing in the NHL, dreamed about playing for the Boston Bruins, and that all comes true, and I think it's important that people hear that story, because I want kids that are 8 and 10 playing youth hockey to have those dreams, because they can come true. And as lucky as I am, there is a lot of hard work that goes into it, a lot of preparation, a lot of sacrifice, all of those things that you have to do and live in order to get to the levels that you want to get to. But you got to be awfully fortunate, and I am very fortunate. And yesterday, again, it really drove home that fact that, here are these guys. These are the guys that made me want to be what I ended up becoming, and a debt of gratitude and admiration, and then to see the next generation, and then the next generation, and then the next generation of Bruins all tied together in this ceremony with the current players out on the bench with the coaching staff. I think it was so well done by the Boston Bruins, and it's very important that today's players understand the history of the organization that they're playing for.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, Brick, and that's something that I think the Bruins' current roster has come to appreciate over the last year plus, right? We've had some players come and go in that time, but Joe Sacco had referenced it in his post-game comments with the general media, saying that there a lot of these players have heard of these guys before, but to be able to see their faces, to meet them in person, and then to have a weekend like this where it's all about the history of the Boston Bruins, and we've talked about that before. You should really take pride in the fact that you play for the Bruins. You should take pride in the fact that it has such a rich history, and you should take time to learn about that history, to learn about the players who have come before you. And I know that, Brad Marchand, just to pick him as an example, that's somebody who appreciates, the history of the organization. And you can just tell by, what he said in the past and what he had to say this weekend. And when he was up at the podium during the Centennial Legacy Monument unveiling, it was really powerful. And it's great to see these younger players who, by the way, they honored all of these, Bruins legends pregame. As you take a look at the video, and you can see as the players are going out to watch the ceremony, they're fist pumping all of these Bruins legends and getting to know their faces and getting to know who they are. And I'm sure they were prepped beforehand. Hey, look, this is who's going to be out in the hallway. This is who's going to be honored. And that was really cool to see. Yeah,
and add a little touch of levity, I guess. Jeremy Swayman, I believe I heard him say, how cool was that? Bobby Orr was in our locker room going around giving guys hugs. I want to be that when I grow up. I thought that was pretty funny, but many a truth said in jest, right? I mean, it came from the heart. He truly, he wanted to have a career in the NHL that is worthy of coming back at a later date and being part of this rich organization and being able to shed some wisdom on whatever current generation of Bruins players are in that locker room at that time.
Yeah, no, that's cool. And again, Charlie McAvoy, when he scored his second goal, and we'll get into the game against the Canadiens coming up a little bit later, but Charlie McAvoy, after he scored his second goal, had lifted the crest up and gave it a kiss, right? Which was kind of cool, kind of a nice tribute. And it's something that he actually had said he wanted to do after his first goal, but he forgot. And then he had the opportunity after he scored the shorthanded to do it. Yeah. But he also said, that this Centennial game served as a great reminder of who they play for. That they play for the Boston Bruins, the pride attached, wearing the spoked B, and the responsibility that comes with that. And he said, we shouldn't need a reminder, but this was a great reminder. And, it's something that we need to carry with us moving forward.
Yeah. And I thought about just to go off the tracks a little bit here, Adam. You think about the outdoor games that the Bruins have played over at Fenway, right? Mm-hmm. That great win over the Flyers, correct? The good win over Pittsburgh, wasn't it? When Jake DeBrusk had 2 goals. Mm-hmm. And it kind of washed away for me yesterday's game. or Sunday's game, the memory of the Bruins Canadiens at Foxborough. I don't know if you remember that game.
Oh, yeah, Gillette, yeah, sure. Yeah, it didn't go well.
No, it did. It did. Big spectacle, big football field, huge crowd. I mean, Fenway's got, 35,000, whatever. And Gillette had, 80,000 for that game. And, Bruins just did not play well. And, of course, it's against Montreal, and it just sticks with you. You know how much you hate that. But, that's a distant memory now after what we witnessed yesterday. Sunday,
and I was thinking too, that one of the games they had the Era Nights last year for the Centennial season, and one of those Era Nights, of course, was against the Canadiens, and it was a 9-4 win. Yeah. Over Montreal, and it was a Danton Heinen hat trick, and I thought we were going to have a hat trick from one of the Charlies on Sunday. It didn't end up happening, but I'll tell you, man.
I saw somebody jump into the rush on the open netter. He was looking for a back diagonal pass from Kepke. Didn't come.
Marshy said afterwards, he yelled in the hallway oh my gosh, we're talking about the Winter Classic, and my Winter Classic picture is just falling, Brick. You can't make this stuff up. All right, anyway. The Winter Classic picture is okay. Marshy said in the hallway, he said, McAvoy was not open in the slot. He wasn't open. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, I know. That was a brief moment of controversy until the captain cleared it up. So it was pretty good. But nonetheless, outstanding performance, which we will get to in just a second. But you are watching or listening to the Hockey Hub. And if you like what you hear, then make sure to like and subscribe to the show. Hockey Hub can be found on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and wherever else podcasts are found. All right, so we're talking about the Centennial game, and we've seen all the footage of the legends standing in the hallway, and we were fortunate enough to hear from a number of them on a Sunday and really throughout the weekend. But on Sunday, before the game against the Canadiens, we heard from a number of them, including the former captain of the Boston Bruins, Patrice Bergeron.
I mean, it's special. I think it's just to be a part of it is something that I think means a lot to me. And you think about all the history that this franchise has had, and the legends have been through these doors is very meaningful for me to be a part of the celebration, and especially against Montreal and their history as well.
Patrice, if you can remember when you first got here, what you knew of the history of the team, and then when you started to realize the meaning of being a Bruin.
Yeah, I think right away when I came in, to be honest, I didn't know that much about the history and everything else. But as soon as you walk into the doors and you see the legends, walking in at any given time, from John Bucyk to Wayne Cashman, that was an assistant coach back then, to Ray and all the the amazing players in Cam. So very special. I think you understand it very quickly, and these guys always been available to answer any questions, and it kind of makes you understand what it really means to wear that jersey and the pride that you have to wear with.
I noticed the inside of your jacket. Was that special?
Yeah, special made. Yeah, from the team. So a little gift from everyone. I think very thoughtful and pretty special little piece of a little surprise, I guess, and that I can cherish and keep at home.
How much do you embrace now being part of that group that can be a resource for today's players and future players?
Yeah, I think it's definitely fun to try to be around and try to help out as much as you can. I think it's there's a lot of guys in that locker room that I'm good friends with, and I have a lot of respect for. So always available if they need me in any capacity. To be honest with you, and to answer any questions and whatnot. I know they they have it handled, and they have a lot of leadership already in that locker room, but just just like I did, I guess, in my days, it's just more being there for them and to support, but also being a fan and showing, I guess, support and showing that you're pulling for them.
Patrice, did this year create some connections with some of the former players that maybe you hadn't met before that kind of united the alumni as a group?
I can't say particularly that I've had like to be honest, like it's over the years I think I've done that, being able to get to know some of the guys, whether it's at the golf tournament, or, during the year, guys coming in, as I said before, the guys are welcome in the locker room. They always, the alumni always usually come in and say hi and shake hands. So over the years, I've gotten to know a lot of those guys, and it's obviously always special and meaningful to have those conversations. I have a lot of respect for all of them, and I think you just carry on that tradition, and it's always a lot of fun to be able to do that.
Patrice, players tend to live in the present, and they say, when I retire, I'll stop and reflect and start to look back on my career. Have you had a chance to do that? Put in perspective?
It's a good question, and you're so right that that's what I used to say. When I'm done, I'll be able to look back. I don't know if I really have done that, to be quite honest. It's at times I've done it, but it seems like life comes at you so fast that you don't really always take the time to reflect and look back. But the one thing that I'll say is I'm really thankful to have been able to play for so long and for an Original Six franchise, a franchise that has a lot of history, and to be in the city like Boston. So I feel very blessed, and the people I've been able to meet over the years, the friendships that I've had, that I still have, is pretty special.
Brick, if there's anybody who understands what it means to be a Bruin, it's Patrice Bergeron, right?
Yeah, you talk about will and skill, right? Just to steal a little something from Harry Sinden's comments, but I think the thing that I really appreciate about Patrice's career was that it was 100% with the Boston Bruins. I mean, you think of some of the great players, right? Ray finished his career, storybook ending, winning Game 7 Stanley Cup, but that was done in Colorado. Espo gets traded in the mid-'70s to the Rangers. Johnny Bucyk started his career in Detroit. Cash was 100% a Bruin. And so there's very few of those, spend your entire career with. Nifty come over from the Rangers. So I think I appreciate that a lot about Bergeron. I think it's very special that he was a Bruin his entire career and what he accomplished as a Boston Bruin and winning that Stanley Cup in 2011 along with all the individual accolades. But I'll also say this about Patrice. He's so raw to retirement. He's still transitioning. And to ask, and try to get comments from him about, being part of this group that was being recognized as the legends of the franchise, he's not quite there yet in terms of wrapping his hands or his head around that because this retirement thing is so fresh. And you can tell just in his comments, he's sincere. He means what he says. He has emotions, but I know from that situation, when you retire, it takes a little while to get comfortable with the fact that you're not in that room anymore. And that's the sense I get from Patrice. And that's not a negative. I think it's just an observation, and it's something I appreciate because anybody that retires from this game, whether you go out on your own terms or not, it's that transition period of not coming to the rink every day and what you miss. And I think I remember talking to Patrice when he was announcing his retirement, following through on his retirement, that there was going to be this transition. And I think he's still, on the fringes of that, Adam.
Yeah, no question about that. It'll be great to see him back on the ice, by the way, December 7th for the charity game with the 2011
That's pretty good
teammates.
roster. Pretty good roster.
Yeah, not bad. Warrior Ice Arena. But you heard him mention Wayne Cashman, who was an assistant, when he started playing with the Bruins. And, you mentioned him as well, former captain, Johnny Bucyk, former captain. Both of them were on the intermission with Dale, Billy, and Barry.
joined here on the desk by two of the greatest to ever wear the black and gold. Two former team captains, by the way, Wayne Cashman and the Chief, Johnny Bucyk. Was it as much fun to be part of that ceremony, Chief, as it was for us to watch it?
It was. It really built up to this first period. 3 goals, that's great. Haven't done that for a while.
Yeah, we needed that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Right here, my first left winger, I come out of camp when I was a rookie, nobody touched me. Nobody went anywhere near me. The big guy was there, he turned that stick around, he'd go, I got him, come on over here. Huh?
Did you looked after this guy?
Oh, he was all right. He took care of himself pretty well.
I did say this when you came up in the studio here a few minutes ago. It did my heart good to see you in this building again.
Well, it's great to be back. This was a tremendous ceremony, and the guys all here loved it. You know, it's not done in any other sport, any other team. Not done in baseball, not done in football. The only place it's been done here is in hockey, and it means a lot to the guys that played and part of this organization, this team. This guy is, Mr. Boston Bruins.
Correct.
I'll tell you, I'll stand by him forever.
Chief, you've seen this whole year transpire to the amazing events that that the organization has put together. When you think about everything that they've done, what does that mean to you, knowing that you've been here for so long?
Oh, that's why it means so much to me. I've been here so long, and it's nice to see the organization take care of the former players. Like Cash, they sent an airplane down for him. I had to hitchhike.
They wouldn't let me fly it, though. No, I know. I tell you the thing that we love so much watching these old highlights and of the not only the cup teams when you went into the stand, all the other stuff, was that you guys had such a talented team and a set of characters. I mean, you guys were deep, and I think sometimes people got caught up in the characters, didn't realize how good a team you really, really had.
Well, everybody sort of had a job to do, and that was the character of the Boston Bruins. The Boston Bruins are like the city. You go in this town and walk down the street, and you could pick up 20 guys, and you could say, that's a Boston Bruin. Look at that guy. Got a hard hat on, he's going to work, he's going to go home and have a couple of beers. But that's the way we were. We took what the city showed us, and we loved it. And then the city took us, and we had a great time. We'll skip a couple of those stories.
Yeah.
What do you guys think when you see the Montreal Canadiens sweaters? You had so many battles against those guys.
Well, that's past. Even when we played against them, Cash, we never held grudges. We just took care of business when they had to, and he did. He looked after us.
Yeah. Well, everybody had a role. Everybody did their job, and that's when you had success. And we enjoyed it. We believed in each other, and we went out and did what we had to do.
We had Cam on here earlier, and I was telling him what I really enjoyed about this Centennial process the whole year was you'd walk in and your teammates would start walking towards you and nothing had to be said. All of a sudden, up came the memories, right? Yeah. Some of them you don't want to talk about. I understand, right?
I was talking to the team today, and I said, you got a guy in this room that won the World Championship. He went to the top of the hill. Inside him, he has that. He never has to give that up. And when times are down, he can reach down and get that. I said, when they put the rope out, you grab it and don't let go because you can have that feeling.
Hey, there's that two captains or what, huh?
I know. Chief, you think about the number of Bruins, former Bruins, who stayed here, who said, this is where I want to make my home, you included. What is it about Boston that kept you guys here?
Well, I just think it's the people, friendliness, they're good and treat you well. The city is great, and everything, the sports here is unbelievable. It's one of the best cities in the world. I started off in Detroit, and there was nothing like this. That was the best move I ever had.
And you didn't have much to do with it either.
No, I was surprised, but I came here, and I was very happy. 67 years later, I'm still here.
That was incredible. It was so great to see Wayne Cashman and Johnny Bucyk during the intermission with those guys, and I thought it was hilarious. It's like, this is a big deal, the Chief said. They set a plane down for Cash. I had to hitchhike. It was awesome. But just to see those legends again, we've talked about it already, but, you're talking about two of the great ones right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it brings back memories. When I first retired and I was starting to play with the alumni team, Adam, there were guys that were still with us that were just a delight to be around, whether it was Donnie Marcotte, who's still with us, obviously.
Yeah.
And Marcotte worked at the Garden, and so you saw him when you came to the rink every time. Gary Doak was still with us. He played on that alumni team. Kenny Hodge was on that team. The great Johnny McKenzie would skate with us. The guys that I just worshipped growing up, and here I am playing alumni hockey with them after I initially retired. So, a lot of great memories. And seeing Cash, I just liked being in his presence. He just has this aura about him of leader, follow me into the battle. And I think that's the way his teammates felt about him.
Yeah, and there were some hijinks in the hallway, man. We showed that shot earlier before. Yeah. It was pretty funny. I had to peek so our studio is right there, and I had to. That's where we do the intermission interviews and the walk-off interviews and the interviews with Joe Sacco that you do as well, just to give people at home an idea. And they all line up in that hallway, which leads to the hallway to the bench. And so I had to peek my head out, and just of all of those legends standing together was really, really cool. It was really, really cool. So for more on the Bruins and the biggest trending news in the sports world, check out Boston Has Entered the Chat, hosted by George Bellecci and Travis Thomas. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and wherever else podcasts are found. Okay, Brick, I think we should at least talk a little bit about the 6-3 win over the Montreal Canadiens. Obviously, what stood out were the 3 goals in a span of 70 seconds in the first period to get the Bruins off to a good start, get the crowd behind them, and that really set the tone.
It did, and that's the kind of start you were hoping to get on such a ceremonious day. And after the great ceremony, and it was lengthy, and as players, you got to you got to dial it up and try to get ready for puck drop. And it was a little slow for both teams, really, in the first, 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes, whatever it was, and until the Bruins exploded for those 3 goals. But that was what you were looking for. You wanted some kind of a dominant first period, certainly on the scoreboard. They got that, get the lead, extend the lead, and you were looking for certain people to score as well. And you got that, too, with McAvoy and David Pastrnak, with the first 2 especially. So that's what you needed. You needed those 2 as part of your leadership group. We highlighted them in the open, hoping that they would say, hey, this is a day for the leaders to step up and show the way and celebrate this 100th year, this Centennial game, and make an impact on the score sheet, and they did. So love that first period. And then to get the lead the way they got it to 5-1 early in the third period, you felt, wow, really comfortable, good game. And then they make it interesting. It's been a first 20 some odd games of some self-inflicted mistakes that have cost them, some points that have slipped away because of that kind of play, and you kind of started to get that feeling that, oh no, here we go again. They're going to make this really hard. Then Marchand gets a penalty when it's 5-3, and there's still plenty of time on the clock, and you needed a big penalty kill, and you needed a couple of key saves, and you got it. So they closed the game out. They get the empty netter. They put 6 on the board. Talked to Joe Sacco afterwards, and he truly believes with the attention to detail defensively, it's allowed their offense to be a little bit more productive. We saw the ability to score goals in Long Island, saw the ability to score goals against Montreal. They had unbelievable chances in their game against Vancouver, maybe the best game in this sequence of games under Joe Sacco. All that being said, yesterday's game was an important win. They needed a win. They needed the 2 points. You wanted style points. You got it in the first period with the explosion of goals. That was all great. Now they just need to be a little bit more consistent in the way they close games out or play the full 60. Maybe there's a lesson to be learned, maybe not, but I think everybody was satisfied with their effort. I think they were satisfied with the results, and I think they felt proud, the players, that they were able to win pretty handily in front of these legends of the Bruins franchise.
And maybe, Brick, David Pastrnak needs to wear that helmet he wore in warm-ups every game. The Cooper was that bucket, man. That was something else. That was I think we have a picture of it there. There it is. He's doing the interview with Sportsnet. He usually goes sans bucket, but for the Centennial game, you got to go with the Cooper.
I guess. I don't know how superstitious he is, but most hockey players have some of that in them. So it wouldn't be surprising to see him go with it again and warm up. But, I don't know. I think he'd look better in a Jofa. What do you think?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. But I when I saw him come out with that, I died. I was on the bench waiting to interview Charlie Coyle, and I was dying laughing. I tried to get a good shot of it, and then he skated right next to me, and then Coyle came up. I had to do the interview, but it was. Are you
old
cool.
enough? Are you old enough to remember the 3-piece helmet?
No.
Okay. All right.
No. I don't, and Pasta definitely isn't.
That I know. Yeah.
Oh man! But speaking of great moments in the game, the second period rolls around, and it's not as if we didn't have all of these legends on NESN already, but Ray Bourque up in the booth with you and Judd Surratt, and it's worth a listen. So we're going to play it in its entirety now.
What a treat it is to be welcomed here in the booth by Ray Bourque, the all-time leader in games played and points in franchise history. And Ray, let's start here because you probably have the most unique perspective on it, having played 21 years for this organization. Just what makes it so special to be a Bruin?
Well, whatever you get here, it seems like the culture is always there, and it's passed on from, I was so lucky to come here with, guys like Jerry Cheevers and Wayne Cashman, and probably 5 or 6 guys that won a cup in 70, 72. And what you learn, Peter McNabb always said that I didn't speak English when I got here. I spoke perfect English, but I just watch and listen. And then when you realize what this organization is all about, then it comes to you to kind of pass it on, and that has been going on for 100 years, and that's why this place is so special.
What was I don't like to use the word, but I'll use it anyway. What was the hatred like for the Montreal Canadiens in your first years in Boston?
Well, for me, I grew up in Montreal, so it was, I'm the kid like you, Brick, growing up here, right? Missing school to go to parades, and I was pretty spoiled growing up in Montreal, going to a lot of parades with my buddies, and then I get drafted by the Bruins August 9th, 79, and then it was all over, but I really noticed it when I came here to camp, and that was, after a devastating loss that they encountered 1979 when they were up 3-1 in the third period with too many men on the ice and all that stuff. You could just see how they were so upset and the hatred whenever Montreal you play them, or just the thought of Montreal, the talk of Montreal, and I knew that, hey, there was no way I was going to play for Montreal coming out of that draft. And you learn that, hey, the minute you get drafted or you play for a team, you're all in. And I was part of that, but for me, it was just took me a while to play good against Montreal, just because, especially in Montreal, they always tried to do too much, and to kind of get comfortable playing there and not trying to do too much was the case for me. So
Charlie McAvoy, the defenseman, on a breakaway, walks it back and he scores! Charlie McAvoy kisses the crest. He's got 2. Bruins 4. Canadiens nothing.
Can we go a hat trick maybe for tonight? FanDuel, what? Come on.
How many did you have?
Jump on that one. I had one. Quebec City.
Well, the Bruins are shorthanded. Zadorov in the box for shooting the puck over the glass to delay a game. And McAvoy ends up out by the offensive blue line of the Canadiens, killing this penalty, and he ends up with the breakaway. And he just makes a straight-ahead move.
This kid is so talented. Amazing. Like, he hasn't even capped the top of it yet. There's more to come there.
Ray, what kind of conversations have you had with McAvoy? Because you talk about the tradition and passing on the tradition. Can you take us inside some of those conversations you've had with Charlie?
There hasn't been much this year, but last year there's a few, and a lot of it is, for me, it's power play and kind of walking the line or trying to. I'd like him to see him shoot the puck a little more and establish that shot. And he's got a good one. And I just think he defers sometimes a little more than he should, because I think he should be the captain on that blue line in the backside. And and just establish that shot. And so much stuff happens off that initial shot. If you establish that shot early, from that point, then Pastrnak on the elbow on both sides open up a lot more than just kind of looking for the elbow where they know it's coming.
I like him carrying the puck, too, on the power play. I think he's more of it. He'll take more charge of it. But with the group that he usually plays with, they like that delay. They drop it back for Zaka and Pastrnak. I'd rather he carried it.
Well, he doesn't. He's amazing with his skating. And just his skating will push people back.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times he'll be able to gain his own and establish, puck possession. So...
For a lot of defensemen, as the Bruins clear this puck down, what's the evolution like learning to be a quarterback on the power play?
Well, I think you have it before you get here. And then it's just getting comfortable at this level. And if you played power play your whole career and you're one of these guys that is looked on to kind of run a power play, I think it's just a matter of time before you find that comfort zone. And some people it takes a little longer than others, but for the most part, I think they all kind of find that comfortable spot.
And why do you think the reluctance for Charlie to shoot is? We all want him to shoot more, obviously, especially on the power play. Is it looking to make a better play? Is that what's going through his mind, or what do you think it is?
I think it's just, past scoring 50 goals or...
Deferring?
Yeah. He defers. I mean, believe me, I did not defer.
No. Didn't have to tell you to shoot twice.
And I've always had the most shots and all that, but ask Cam. I saw Cam Neely in front of the net. I said, I'm getting the puck there. If I'm not scoring, he's tipping it or getting a rebound or something like that. So, you got to take charge. I mean, he should be taking way more shots, and you look at a guy like Makar or some of these guys that just find. I know it's a lot tougher getting shots through in today's game with everybody blocking shots and sticks in the lane and all that stuff. But you have a moment. You have a moment where that lane is open. Take it. Take it right then and there. The minute you hesitate for a fraction of a second, it closes, and that's what happens a lot with him.
Ray, you're the all-time leading scorer in Bruins history. As the Bruins send us into the far corner, when you see your name at the top of that list or at the top of the list of games played in franchise history, how much pride do you take in that?
I take an amazing and a lot of pride. It was a lot of work and a lot of dedication and passion and stuff. I lived a dream. You ask me, during my career or at the beginning of my career, what do you think you're going to end up doing in this league? I'm like, if I play 10, 12 years, it'll be amazing. I ended up playing 22 years and putting the numbers that I put up. I said I will not talk about myself or what I've done till it's retired. And when I look back on it, I go, wow, I can't believe what I accomplished in this league. And being a blue-collar star, more or less. Brick, you practice against me every day, how I approach the game and how I...
3-on-3 down low coverage is always a blast with you.
I brought it every day. I led by example. It wasn't a flashy game, but I'll tell you, it was steady and in your face, and I just tried to be there for my team and my teammates, and did my best pretty much every day.
Yeah, Raymond's best, and he would tell you, Judd, that he never played a perfect game. That was the goal.
And that's what when I talk to kids or people or anybody in the workforce, when you think you've done it perfect, you're not getting better every day. So regardless of what the game was in terms of points or almost, it's, especially this game, it's a game of mistakes. So I was looking for perfection every day, practice or games, knowing that I would never reach it.
Well, it looks like the Canadiens have just gotten on the board back door. Swayman having a quick conversation with the linesman as that puck was swatted through him. Cole Caulfield looks like he's put the Canadiens on the board with the Bruins on top 4-1.
Yeah, I'm not sure who this is going to bank in off of. There's traffic right on the doorstep of Swayman. We said that Montreal is willing to take bad angle shots. Now the question is, Caulfield, did he get into that crease on his own? Was Swayman allowed to play his position?
Doesn't take much in today's game, right?
No, it doesn't. But the fact that you're up 4-1, is that going to alter your decisions here? We'll take a look. Caulfield gets in there. It looks like it deflected off him.
Counts.
Yeah, that's a good goal. Ray, what would you say that, people talked about your ability to recover, the capacity to have a minute shift, come get a breather for about 10 seconds and do it again?
That was good genes and a man called Benoit Adjut. That was my high school gym teacher when I was 14 years old, that had a track and field team in Montreal, that four of his runners went to the Olympics, and he trained me from the age of 16 years old till I retired, and he made me an athlete more than just a hockey player.
We'll be back with Ray Bourque in just a moment. It's an honor to be joined by Ray Bourque here in the booth. The Bruins on top 4-1 over the Canadiens here in the Centennial game. Ray, you played more games than anybody else in Bruins franchise history. Which game are you asked about the most?
It's Phil Esposito night. I tell you, that's all they talk about. Oh my God, and that was decided at 1 o'clock that afternoon. What was going to happen with that jersey? Phil was told that the number is going to go up with his name, and then when I retire, I'll be next to his name. I got a call from Terry Riley at 1 o'clock that afternoon, and we discussed what we should be doing with that jersey, and that was such a right thing to do. And I was just with Phil yesterday talking about it again, and he brought it up. But it's so true that it was the first time that anybody ever seen Phil Esposito speechless, and his face was like this. Oh my God, he was. I know I made his day. It was so perfect the way it all ended up, because nobody knew other than my wife, trainers, and management of the Bruins, and it was just a fabulous night, and that's what comes up the most.
Oh, Marchand denied out in front, and then cued the rebound wide. I think I've heard you tell the story in the past, but how many people say they were in the building that night?
At least 100,000. And it only held, 13 floors, something? What a building, though. Oh, my God. Brick, that thing would get rocking, huh? Trembling sometimes.
The people were just so close to you, close to the action in the old building.
That Chicago Stadium.
Yeah, fabulous.
I remember hearing a story from Scotty Bowman, the old coach, when he was with Montreal. He said there was just something uncomfortable as a visitor.
Yeah, the dressing room. Their dressing room with no hot water and rats and you name it.
Well, it's the Canadiens. I know it was the Maroons, 24, but it's the Canadiens. Talk a little bit about that 88 team that won in the postseason. They call it a season to remember because the Hex was over.
Oh, my God. So I grew up there. I used to go back there every summer and have to hear about it every summer, all summer long. And then 87 was the quietest summer I've ever had in Montreal. But for the whole organization, just seeing Harry Simmons' face after that happened, Taz, and how we felt about it, and how on a mission we were really to finally win a series against Montreal. Reggie and I, being from there, and we had a little saying that I can't say, but we'd say it every day, all day long, and we had to create that kind of hate. And it was always kind of there between both teams, with a lot of respect, obviously, for both teams and their talent. Just an amazing goal right here.
Yeah.
Man, he had Patrick's number.
So in that series, the Bruins dropped game 1, and you swept the next 4.
We got killed, and I just remember that meeting the next morning, and Taz is ripping, going up and down and just going nuts. And I just remember Steve Casper standing up and saying, hey guys, it's one game. And then, but we had character guys. We had chemistry. We had a nice group. And we regrouped, and, it was just...
Come on, you guys were lucky to get by the Devils. And then...
In 88.
Oh, we were, actually. But, yeah, if the referees were friggin' still roughing one game, maybe it would have happened a little quicker.
Death taxes and the first penalty in the Forum. The other highlight that our crew really loves from that 88 series was the fist bump by Reggie Lemelin after he won.
Yeah. Well, that said it all right there. But I'll tell you what it meant to not only our team but our fans that are amazing and always have been amazing. We had to have security at Logan Airport. The state troopers had to form a line for us to get to our cars, because I think we were charter, but we had, there must have been thousands of fans. I'm not saying 10 or 5, but there was 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 people waiting for us when we got home after that game. It was crazy. So the whole friggin' city was so excited about this. And that allowed us, finally to get to a finals.
So you and Brick had a chance to play together from 88 to 92, and there have been 87 New England-born players that have played for the Bruins franchise. Could you tell how special it was for guys like Brick or guys who were from here to play for this team?
Of course. I mean, and I think Brick would agree that, if you're going to play for your hometown team, you probably don't want it to happen out of the box. Go establish yourself somewhere, learn what it takes, and kind of know how everything goes and how you're going to deal with everything. Because if you're out of the box, you're playing here, you got family, friends, and everybody looking for tickets, your time, and whatever. You just want to focus on what you have to do to try to establish yourself as a solid NHL player. So, are we going to break or are we good?
Icing, baby, no break.
Okay, I thought I heard something, but... So tell me again. I didn't finish that.
87 local players.
Okay.
Players who've been born in New England have played for this franchise, including the man to our right.
And you want them, and I got to say, the man on my right here was one of the most cerebral player that I've ever played with. Whenever I came around that net, or do I tell this all the time? I came around a net, I knew where Brick was going to be. If I needed support anywhere or always in the right position, and he'd just be cruising, not getting stopped for speeding or nothing like that, but always in the right spot. Yeah. So whenever you had a kid from Boston, you always felt that was so special for them and their families that you wanted them to do well. And it was always fun to have some local guys on the team.
That's a great way to close the show, I think, Brick. Hearing from the captain, Ray Bourque. No question about that. And, 2 national games back-to-back this week. We're not going to be on Nest until Saturday. It's unbelievable. That's crazy.
Yeah,
what are you going to do with yourself?
Well, I'm going to go to the home game.
Go to the game.
Yeah, go to the home game and watch it from a fan's perspective, I suppose. Put the analyst hat away and just kind of enjoy, and hopefully it's a joyous game and a victory for Boston. Not sure what I'm going to do about the Chicago game. I always love going to Chicago. It's my favorite city on the tour. But on this trip, because they're flying right out after Detroit, you have no downtime. It's just play the game and come home. I guess it's okay that I missed the trip to Chicago this year.
Yep, but you'll be back to work for Saturday's game, a matinee against the Flyers. So we will see you then. And, of course, on the next week, we'll have Hockey Hub as well. But that was a great time going back, looking at the Centennial game. Great work, my friend. And tip of the scally to you.
Happy December and I guess the first stages of the next 100 years of Bruins hockey.
There you go. To the next 100. All right. For Andy Brickley, I'm Adam Pellerin. Thanks for joining us once again on the Hockey Hub podcast. We will see you next time.